Hello and welcome to a very special video and a very special train ride. A new bonus video. Today we're taking a look at the farewell trip of the class 406, the ICE 3M. We are going from Amsterdam to Frankfurt, and here on the map you can see our route today. We're starting at the main station of Amsterdam, Amsterdam Central, and here we can take a look at the successor of the class 406, or class 408 on a regular service, and now we can take a look at the arrival of my train today. Our train today consists of two trains of the class 406, it's 4601 and 4651, and my seat is in the second train, the 4601, the Europe ICE with the blue livery. Today I'm traveling in second class. You can see the typical interior of the class 406. The other train, 4651, was the only one who got the redesign with newer seats, but we are traveling in the original interior. There was even a printed Reiseplan, a printed itinerary, and here we can see the direct successor of my train, the new Europe ICE of the class 408. Here we are leaving Amsterdam Central, and now we are going to Den Haag first, and we're not using the high-speed line, we're using the regular railway line, which means that we're now going through the beautiful tulip fields. Our train today is celebrating 25 years of international ICE traffic, and it is also the farewell trip for the class 406. It was a bit difficult to get a ticket for this ride. I will tell you a bit more about this later on. Just for you to know, from time to time I get negative comments regarding the blurring in the video. There was a very high interest in this train and a lot of people were taking pictures, so there will be blurring throughout the video. Here we are in the wonderful tulip fields of the Netherlands, of Holland. They were in full blossom right now, so it was looking very, very beautiful. We are close to the famous Keukenhof, one of the most famous tourist attractions in the whole of the Netherlands. In a second we will pass the former station of Lisse, and Lisse is the city where the Keukenhof is located. Here you can see the station, and now we're continuing on to Den Haag. As I said, it was quite difficult to get a ticket for this train. It was not actually difficult. You could just easily book a ticket on the website of Deutsche Bahn, but there were no saver fares. You had to book a flex ticket, so you have to pay the full fare, which is quite expensive on this long international journey, and then you had to, of course, also make a seat reservation. So that's why I'm traveling in second class today, because first class was just too expensive, and I was lucky to get a seat at all, as all seats in this train were reserved. There was a very high demand. Weirdly, the whole journey, the seat next to me and a lot of other seats remained empty, but they were all reserved. I don't know why that was actually the case, but for me that of course was pretty good, so I got a bit more space. Here we are approaching the station of Den Haag. Here we are stopping for about 20 to 30 minutes, so there was some time to take some pictures of the exterior of the train, which even got a special livery for today. Here we can take a brief look into the Board Bistro, which of course was also busy, so it was a bit difficult to film it, but I still wanted to include it in my video. Now we're leaving Den Haag and we're continuing on to Rotterdam. As you can see also here, there were a lot of people interested in this very special train ride, as it was the very last journey of the class 406 in the Netherlands. It is the very last international service with a train of the class 406. It is not the very last ride of the train at all. As far as I know and as far as I read in some comments on social media, the very last ride of this train will be on Wednesday, 16th of April, so in 2 days from today. But if you have more information on that, if you know which train will be the very last one, where you can still travel on this ICE in the next days, let me know in the comments below, especially let other viewers know that maybe want to travel with this train one final time. But as I said, this was only the last international service, but in just a couple of days there will be the last service at all, and then the class 406 will be decommissioned. The class 406 is the international version of the class 403, the traditional ICE 3. It is also called ICE 3M, and there was also the version ICE 3MF that was also capable of going to France. The version 3M was capable of going to the Netherlands and to Belgium. Our route now continues from Rotterdam to Dordrecht and then on to Sittard, without stops in between, but going through the cities of Breda, Tilburg and Eindhoven, as well as Roermond. Here we are crossing the Hollandse Diep, a very wide river part of the Rhine-Meuse Delta, and Sittard will be the very last stop in the Netherlands of the class 406. Class 406 is taken out of service because they were not too reliable. It was prone to failure, and if you have been traveling on that line with the class 406, maybe you know that the trains were sometimes cancelled or delayed due to technical failures. That got a bit better now since the class 408 took over, and that's the main reason why class 406 is taken out of service, especially taken out of the international service. But today the train was quite reliable. We were almost on time, got slightly delayed in the end because of constructions, so we had to wait a few times, but that was not due to any failure of the train. And in the end they cancelled one stop in Germany, and we were on time again when we were arriving in Frankfurt. This journey was made possible mainly by a railway association called NVBS from the Netherlands. They organized this trip because, as far as I heard, it was originally only planned to be a farewell trip for employees of Deutsche Bahn and Nederlandse Spoorwegen with one train, the 4651, and then this association made it possible that there was a second train that was bookable for everybody. That's the 4601 that I'm in right now. We have just left the station of Sittard, as you can see also here, with a lot of people taking pictures, because this is the very last station in the Netherlands that will see a train of the class 406. We're now on our very last few meters in the Netherlands, and then an important chapter in the history of international train travel between Germany and the Netherlands and Belgium will come to an end when the class 406 will cross the border for the very last time. Of course, there will still be international trains, but they will now be operated by the class 408. The atmosphere on board of the train was amazing. Everybody was enjoying this very special train ride, and that's also the reason why I'm uploading this video as a bonus video, because it was a very special trip and I want to give you the possibility to travel with the class 406 one last time. So that's why, again, if you know what the very last train will be, if it will be on Wednesday, and on which train you will have the possibility to travel with the class 406 in the next days, please write it down in the comments so that other viewers can experience this train also for one last time. We have just passed the station Eigelshoven Markt. the very last station in the Netherlands with the class 406 going through, and the river we've just crossed, that was the border river between the Netherlands and Germany. So for the very last time, the class 406 has crossed the border successfully, and that marks the end of the chapter of 25 years international service between the Netherlands and Germany with the class 406. As I said, these trains will now only be used for a couple more days, only for services within Germany, no more international services. This was the very last international service. We're now approaching the main station of Aachen, our first stop back again in Germany, because we've just seen a part of the farewell trip. Our train is the ICE 25, named after 25 years of international services between the Netherlands and Germany. But there was a second train before that, ICE 13406, starting in Hanover Messe, going to Amsterdam Central, and from there the train continued on as ICE 25 to Frankfurt. This train was taking a scenic tour in the Netherlands, and I think it was also planned to go through Belgium, but this idea was cancelled in the end to make sure that there will be no bigger delays or other problems, and that was a quite good decision, because from today on 14th of April there is a strike in Belgium, so that was a close call, might have been a problem, so we were only traveling in the Netherlands and Germany. Now in Germany we are traveling on the traditional route of this train. Between Aachen and Cologne was the traditional route coming from Brussels, and from Cologne on to Frankfurt on the high-speed line was where all trains of the ICE 3M are traveling, because their main route was from Frankfurt to Cologne and on to Brussels or Amsterdam. Here we are at the main station of Cologne, and now we are crossing the famous Hohenzollern Bridge during a beautiful sunset. So we now get to experience the speed of this train for a last time on the high-speed line to Frankfurt, where we can reach up to 300 km per hour. It was planned that we were stopping at the airport of Cologne as well, but due to our delay in the Netherlands, which was caused by some constructions, we had to wait for a couple of times. The stop at the airport was cancelled, and we are now going directly from Cologne main station to Frankfurt main station, which meant that we arrived in Frankfurt almost on time again. As I said, we are now going at almost full speed of 300 km per hour. The full speed of the class 406 would be 330 km per hour. The highest speed that was reached by this train in regular service was 320 km per hour. That was reached by the ICE 3MF, the version that was going from Frankfurt to Paris, and on the high-speed line in France the train was reaching 320 km per hour. Here we are traveling with about 300 km per hour through the station of Montabaur and Limburg, and now we are almost approaching the airport of Frankfurt, and there was also something quite special. For me it was the first time to experience this. We are going through the long-distance station of Frankfurt, one of the most important railway stations in Germany, without stopping. Usually all ICEs are stopping here at the airport, but we are going through without stopping, as you can see here, so that was also something special. But it also means that we are now approaching the main station of Frankfurt, and this very important chapter of international train travel with the class 406 will come to an end, and of course there were some emotional announcements made.
Diese Abschiedsfahrt beendet eine Ära bei uns, 25 Jahre IC International mit der Baureihe 406. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Within a few minutes we will arrive at Frankfurt Central Station, which is the final destination of this train and of this series, the 406 high-speed service. Thank you for traveling with us today. It was an honor to have you on board.
As you could also hear, there was applause in the train for this very special train ride, so all passengers really enjoyed this journey. Also with a lot of young train enthusiasts on board, it was a very special ride. And here we can see the interior of the Class 406 for a very last time. And now I'm leaving this train, the Class 406 ICE 3M, for the very last time. And here we can see this beautiful train in front of the skyline of Frankfurt. And now it's time to say goodbye. Here we can see our two trains one last time here at the main station of Frankfurt. And even on the platform there were some farewell words. It was written, "Goodbye dear Class 406, thanks for 25 years, successful international long distance services, take care." That's the translation of what was written up there. So it was a very special train ride. I hope you enjoyed this bonus video on the farewell trip of the Class 406. Here you can see the name of the song and when the next regular video will be uploaded. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video again.